Alright, so here's another video on this 2014 Dodge Patriot with a 2.4. So this is the throttle body. This car was obviously from up north. See the rust on it. You could see the oil inside of the intake. The bolts were all rusted. So there's the new one, there's the new seal. Here's the bolts. You can see the rust on them. This car was up north. It took some time to get those bolts out. You have to tighten, loosen, keep working them out little by little. And eventually you get them out. Finally, it's out, thank God. Moving on to installing the new one. I watched a bunch of videos online that talked about what you got to do to take it out, and a lot of them were saying you had to take the battery tray out, you had to take the air box out, you got to remove the radiator hose out. I was like, man, that's a lot of work. All I really removed was this air tube. And this air tube attaches to it down there and then attaches up here. That's an 8mm flathead screwdriver. Disconnected that. Move the hose out of the way. Had a harness that plugs right there. I pushed it back out of the way, tucked it out of my way there. Had a bracket that attached there. On this one, it was already removed. The bolt to it was already missing. So this had been worked on before. I wanted to show you the inside of the throttle body if I can get this camera down in there. There you go. See how much oil's in there? It's crazy, huh? And you can see the dirt and like almost looks like metal shavings that were in there. So yeah, that's some oil. So there is definitely some oil in the intake. And you ask yourself, how does oil get in the intake like that? Danny, explain to us how. Well, I can tell you the PCV valve, positive crank ventilation valve, hasn't been changed. That's important. That'll help with that. But it could probably use a set of a valve cover gasket because it has tube seals where the spark plugs go. This hasn't been lifted off, so a valve cover gasket, a PCV valve would help. But the only other reason why you would have oil in there is the valve stem seals in the head. And hopefully that's not the issue. We're not going to get into that, but that is a telltale sign of what's to come in the future. It's not looking good. Like I said, this thing has rust. It was from up north. If I owned this car, I would put it together and make plans to get rid of it. Take it to CarMax or something and get rid of it and get into another car. Anyways, don't want to make the video too long. We got the wiring all done for those that didn't know. And got everything connected here finally. Everything was done properly. No, they just weren't taped together. They were soldered and heat shrinked and then taped over that for extra security. But yeah, everything was put back together. Fuse box put back together, harness into the car put back together, all new fuses. I went to go start it and it wouldn't start. Every fuse needed to be replaced, every relay needed to be replaced. Behind the dash, more work to be done. I get the new battery in it, I start it up, and it's just idling crazy, and you could hear the butterfly in this throttle body. It was stuck. It wasn't working right. It was. So you could open this up and see what's happening to the mechanism inside, but we're not going to get into all that. We're just gonna put this one on. I mean the new one on, toss that one, clean these bolts up a little bit, put some grease on them, cross our fingers, start it up, and hope for the best. Once we get it running right, we'll put the fender on, slap the front bumper on, put the tires on it. Went ahead and got all the tires for it. So we'll move on with the rest of this job, putting, like I said, the bumper, everything else, and then going for a test drive. Yes, finally test drive and get this thing out of my garage because it's been in here long enough. Anyways, thanks for watching. That's the throttle body on a 2.4 2014 Jeep Patriot. Pretty simple. You don't have to remove a bunch of stuff after all. They scare you on YouTube sometimes, telling you, oh, you got to remove this, that, and the other. And I removed the air intake tube, and that was it. Now just make sure you don't got one from up north that has a bunch of rusty bolts, and be careful that you don't break them, because then you'll really be mad at yourself. Anyways, until the next video, keep y'all posted on how this thing runs. I'll do another video of a running test drive, all that good stuff. Catch y'all on the next one.